Hey, what's happening? It's your man Big Tigger doing big things, and welcome. You know me. You can wake up with me every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m., right here on the People Station, V103 in Atlanta. Welcome. We're going to do something amazing today. I'm thrilled to be with you today and to be part of the launch of the amazing Russell Center. It's an amazing new resource for entrepreneurs of color right here in Atlanta. Before we dive into our content today and hear from our speakers, including the human highlight reel himself, Mr. Dominique Wilkins, I want to welcome some special guests, Bina Elliott, Jay Bailey, and Mark Adams. Bina, Jay, and Mark are going to tell you more about Chase's Advancing Black Pathways program and Chase's involvement and commitment to the Russell Center. Bina Elliott is the head of Advancing Black Pathways for JPMorgan Chase, where she is leading a firm-wide strategy to strengthen the economic foundation of the black community. Her decades-long career in banking has been anchored on reinvesting to improve the economic plight of the vulnerable. Jay Bailey is the CEO of the Russell Center with more than a decade of senior leadership experience in the nonprofit and economic empowerment space. And last but certainly not least, Mark Adams is the Regional Director of Chase's Consumer Bank for Georgia and North Florida. He's an Atlanta native and a devoted Hawks fan. That's a good look. Mark has more than 25 years of experience in financial services and banking right here in Atlanta. He's in charge of all the branch operations and services throughout our region. So without further ado, let's begin. Introducing Miss Bina Elliott.
Thanks, Big Tigger, for that warm welcome. And I want to thank all of you all for joining us today as we celebrate this great event for the city of Atlanta. The Russell Center aligns with the goals of our Advancing Black Pathways, to which we started 2 years ago to address the economic wealth gap and economic mobility opportunities for the Black community. This investment and investments like this align to help us develop the right strategies to address systemic solutions in our communities. At JPMorgan Chase, we believe that Black businesses are key to the economic health of Black communities. Investments like the one we're making with the Russell Center are key strategies we are deploying to improve long-term sustainable change around economic mobility and economic vitality in Black communities. The Chase Lounge at the Russell Center will be a place where Black job creators can come together to innovate, grow, and get on the path to building wealth for themselves and their communities. As the largest financial institution in the country, we believe it is our responsibility to invest in the people and the communities that we serve, which is exactly why we're here today. Thank you, and I want to turn it over to Mark Adams.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. This project in partnership with the Russell Center has been a long time in the making. Many of us know that the most viable path to financial health and wealth creation is through entrepreneurship and business ownership. And it's no secret that this path has been too narrow for many people of color. It's important as we expand in the region for us to be able to give business owners and entrepreneurs every resource available to them so that we can increase their chances of business and financial success. Through this partnership, we can reach and support business owners and those with an idea and a dream to achieve success by providing them with educational resources about personal and business finances, about smart lending, especially during these times, and many more resources. I know that we're going to talk about several of those concepts today. So during today's session, we're going to highlight a few ways that people can use the lounge, especially when we get back to hosting in-person events. Until then, we'll be hosting some sessions virtually. The 3 conversations that you'll hear today will focus on financial health for you and for your business. These conversations are just a taste of what you'll hear if you come to one of our Chase Chats or business workshops hosted here at the center. Now we want to give you an exclusive sneak peek of the Chase Lounge here at the Russell Center.
hope you enjoyed that sneak peek into the Chase Lounge here at the Russell Center. Launching in 2019, honoring the great legacy of visionary business leadership of Herman J. Russell, the Russell Center will be the largest center in the country, driven by community impact, devoted to empowering Black entrepreneurs and small business owners. The only initiative of its kind, the Russell Center is part incubator, part accelerator, part innovation lab, and even part museum, changing the narrative by telling the stories of Black entrepreneurs. Ultimately, building a capable and prepared pipeline of entrepreneurial leaders and sustainable businesses that will raise the collective prosperity of Atlanta, just as Mr. Russell did in so many ways. Through this partnership with Chase, we'll be providing entrepreneurs with direct access to educational resources for both personal and business finances. Rice throughout history and around the world has fed our families and in many ways fed our soul. It has sustained communities, and that's the role that we want to play. And so the Russell Center becomes the Russell Innovation Center for entrepreneurs. Rice. Without further ado, let's get into the next segment. Tig, take it away.
In the next hour, we'll spend 15 minutes on each of these topics where you'll be able to hear from special guests like Dominique Wilkins and hear about some great resources that Chase has that you and your loved ones can use. So let's get into this first topic, negotiating effectively for your business. Our special guests for this particular segment are Shea Taylor, Chase Senior Business Advisor, Jay Bailey, Rice CEO over there at the Russell Center, and Janell Stephens, the CEO of Camille Rose. How is everyone? How you doing?
Good to see you, Tigger.
How are you?
Good to see you. We're good. Thank you.
Let's get everybody acclimated with everyone here. Everyone, please introduce yourselves and give us a little bit more about who you are and what you do. We'll start with you, Shea.
Yes, my name is Shea Taylor. I am an Atlanta native, born and raised, and worked for Chase for 10 years, 13 years overall in the financial industry. A big bulk of that has been working with business owners like Janell, helping them achieve their financial goals and growing their companies. So it's good to be here today, and thank you.
So I'm Janell Stephens, creator and founder of a natural hair and body brand, Camille Rose. I founded Camille Rose in 2011. It was actually a hobby of mine turned business. I created products out of a necessity, not knowing that Camille Rose would grow to be the size that it is today and would take me here. It was a simple hobby of mine. I was trying to find a cure for eczema and dryness for the hair and body and turned into a business. So here I am. Thank you for having me.
Jay Bailey, President and CEO of the Russell Center. And I'm just here to try to find more Janelles. We are building the largest center in America dedicated to Black entrepreneurs, Black innovators, job creators, to make sure that they have access to all the resources they need to see their dreams come true.
Indeed. Thank you all for joining us for this epic conversation. We'll jump right into the first topic. Negotiating is a part of everyday life and a business critical to your success. We want to talk to these successful business owners and a Chase Senior Advisor about those negotiation tactics that you can use during these tough times. How does someone learn to negotiate? Anyone can jump in and start this conversation off.
I'll take that. I know for me, being that Camille Rose was just my hobby, and I mean, I wasn't even a businesswoman. I had to quickly learn the hard way, and I had to learn quick. When I launched in 2011, I simply threw up a website and said, let me see how this goes. By 2012, I was sitting in front of the major retail chain, and their buyers asking me about my products, speaking language that I had no idea. I didn't know what it meant. I pretended. I just went through the meeting like I knew what they were talking about, took notes. And then when I got out of the meeting, I Googled what all that stuff meant. But one thing that I made sure I didn't do was to sign anything while I was in the meeting and just accept what they're telling me, you know, they want for my brand. Initially, of course, I went into the meeting by myself. I thought it was just an introduction with me and one person, a buyer, but I found out that it was me, the only person that looked like me in a room full of other people, mainly men. And it was a bit intimidating. However, me staying true to what I thought I learned, what I thought my mama told me, I was thinking, okay, what will my mama tell me to do? I just had my ground, and I knew that it was okay to say, okay, here's 1,000, I'll say target doors. I knew I couldn't handle that right then and there. My products were still handcrafted. I was still in my kitchen making my products. So I said, okay, it's okay for me to say no right now, you know? And then as the brand grows in retail and the consumers speak and say, okay, we want more Camille Rose, I'm okay with saying no and then going back, negotiating, okay, the consumer has spoken, these are my products. Let's continue to grow with your retail store. So that was my first real negotiating moment in business.
And to that point, you got to get in the ring. There's no world-class boxer that has never taken a punch. And you got to go and you got to face it down. You got to take a punch. And in my opinion, you got to lose a few times.
Yeah.
To develop the kind of tough skin so you feel like I never want to lose again. And I love what you said, Janell, about you being able to go and research all the words that you didn't know. Right. It gave you a certain hunger because you went into a situation where you felt like you weren't prepared and you probably swore to yourself, that ain't never happening again. I think negotiation is all about a certain mental toughness, a certain preparation, but more than anything else, someone shouldn't expect on the first swing to be able to hit it out of the park. You got to get in there and you got to continue to do it because it is a skill that is developed over time because you need those reps to develop the confidence and the understanding and the words that you need to use and the competence to go in there and negotiate with power.
And I was going to say that too. Like, you have to have confidence and you have to have faith in yourself, because if you say no the first time, you have to trust and believe that the next time you go back, when you're ready, they'll say yes to you.
Mm-hmm. Shea, as a senior business advisor, the word leverage usually comes into play with negotiation. Mm-hmm. How important is that in any negotiation?
It's very important. I learned how to negotiate in a very, I was in the arena or in the ring, as Jay would say. I grew up with brothers and sisters. So negotiating and cutting deals had been happening all along. And so I think leverage is important for two things. One, realizing what you can say, whether it's saying a no or saying a yes, and understanding what's good and authentic for you. But it's also good to really assess how you want to be seen and presented, and then reverse engineering that in the negotiations. I think a lot of times we get into negotiations and we don't understand the leverage or the position of power within that arena. And then we may put ourselves in a position to either say yes or say no, or to capitulate one of whatever our values are. So it's important. Leverage is important, but understanding who has the leverage. And again, understanding just because someone else has the leverage does not mean that you have no power in that situation. Just understanding the room and being your authentic self. And to bring it back to what Janell said, that's one thing I've always admired when talking to her. Janell knows who her authentic self is. She knows the brand of Camille Rose, and she knows the 4 or 5 things that will push it forward. And I'll tell you this, Janell is such a good negotiator. This may be brought to you by Chase, but these curls are brought to you by Camille Rose. Not only am I a fan of what Janell's brand is, but just a fan of her all around. And this is literally a negotiation live for people to see.
Amen. Well, Jay, if leverage is not the greatest asset or quality to have when going into a negotiation, what is? If it's not leverage, what is the greatest asset or quality to have?
My 2 words are conviction and eviction. Conviction goes a lot with what Shea just shared. I know who I am. I know what I have. I know what it's worth. And I know what I'm not going to take. That conviction and understanding your product or your position or your leverage or your why why am I even in a position to be negotiating in the first place? But the eviction part is where the power comes in. You've got to be able to walk away if the deal doesn't line up with your conviction. And having the ability and the internal fortitude to say that this does not work. It doesn't align with my mission. It doesn't align with my authentic self. This is not where we want to be. And it doesn't put me in a position to win. I've got to have the presence of mind and the confidence to walk away from any deal if it really doesn't push my company, my idea, my purpose, my mission forward. That power to walk away is crazy. It works when you're buying a new car. It works when you're starting a new business or signing a new contract to say, you know what? I don't need it. And so, brother, I think time and time again, I've seen in those times where I've been able to say, this isn't a good fit for us for these reasons. If I go into it with the spirit of collaboration and true negotiation, where the goal is really for both of us to go forward with an acceptance of terms, I think that's always led me in the right direction, conviction and eviction.
Well, Janell, those two words can sometimes be misconceived or misperceived as ego. Does ego help or hurt in going into a negotiation? And if it hurts, how do you keep it in check?
Does it help or hurt? I think it can do both, just as long as you're remaining humble. While you have an ego, it's okay to pop your collar. It's okay to be confident in yourself. Just as long as you are remaining humble. And I always say that, even on my Instagram page, every time the brand has like a big win, my hashtag is always humble, because I cannot believe I am where I am, but I am so grateful for it. And then when I first got into business, like, I had to, it's almost like you're afraid, or you're apologizing for, your success. So, I had to learn to accept, God's blessings and rewarding me, whatever rewards I would get for, the fruits of my labor. Like, I had to learn to accept that and to know that it was okay for me to win. And it's not like offending other people, So that's something I had to learn. And going back to what Jay said, I'll touch on this quickly. When you go into business and you are in the middle of a deal and somebody throws like this big dollar amount number at you, it takes a lot of strength for you to walk away from that and not just think money, money, money. And when I first went into my retail meeting, 1,000 doors, they wanted to start little old me with 1,000 doors. Do you know that check just came into my mind? But I was like, no, I want to win. I don't want one big hit. I don't want to get on the shelf and I'm sitting on the shelf and all these 1,000 doors, and then I have to come out of the store. I just want to grow organically and gradually. And that way, in the long run, I am really winning, because, I am now. I'm not only in Target retail stores chain wide, but we're in Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Hope, like all of them. So just having the strength to true to yourself, your foundation, and just realize, yes, that money sounds good right now, but all money may not be good money at the moment.
That. Lots of people come into conversations or negotiations, Shea, trying to present their value. What is the best way to present that, everything that you bring to the table, in particularly when you're speaking to a financial provider or someone you may be going into business with? How do you present your value?
I think the first thing is a lot of questions, understanding who you are sitting across the table from, the proverbial table, so to speak, because a lot of times we can jump into things, and if we have not, with a lot of assumptions, and we can lead into an assumption that can lead us down a pathway where, so to speak, the toothpaste is hard to put back into the tube. And so you want to make sure that you kind of go slow. And one thing that I have learned is asking a lot of questions, understanding. One of my favorite questions to ask people, what is your North Star and what are the top 3 things that can get you there? Because for me now, it helps me understand to align myself. So if I zap myself and make myself a business owner and take all the knowledge that I have with banking, one of the first things I would do when I'm talking to a banker at any institution is I would ask questions around the bank's appetite for my type of industry. I would ask questions around not only footprint, but what are I would try to get some type of audience with the actual lender, because in the bank, sometimes the person sitting in front of you in retail may not be the person doing the loan. Sometimes they may have that person satellite and moving around the city, but I'd like to have that question or get that face to face with that person. So that way I can just start asking some very just high level questions of what the bank's thought process is about me and my business before an actual transaction comes up. What that helps to do for the business owner, especially as we talk about closing the racial gap, some of the things we have developed over time as Black people has been the way we work with banks has been through conversations and things that have been passed along through our community. We can come in a little bit timid. One great thing about having those conversations beforehand, and it's understand why that timidity is there. Yes, decades and decades of this. But what Chase is trying to do, especially with our role here, is really be able to show up, to be able to have a conversation without any thought process of a transaction. And what that does, if I'm the business owner, again, I'm the business owner with all the bank knowledge, I like to enter into things like that, because that way there's no pressure on the other person to provide a transaction. They don't feel a pressure that I'm looking to get something. And again, this is my opinion, it allows for a very authentic conversation. And so, when to kind of round out your question, when speaking to a financial provider, I always would say, go in and ask the appetite, and then just try to find out some information before the actual transaction, because it's going to make a better experience for yourself. And not only this, now, and with this, you will then start to build a consensus. You will then start building people that want to see you win. You'll start building people that say, because best believe for every owner that walks in like that, there's probably 20 or 30 people that walk in with crazy expectations. So you just set yourself apart. You gave somebody an easy day, and they're going to be more open to really working with you and walking with you, and then walking to that North Star and getting there together. Or if they can't fulfill that transaction, get you in a place that can fulfill it in a safe way.
Well, Shea, is there anything JPMorgan Chase has specifically for Black entrepreneurs?
Yes, we have been connecting and really diving in deep and developing a partnership with both internally and externally in our different cities and environments, working with business leaders and associations whose North Star is to help the Black business owner. And then with that, through advancing Black entrepreneurs and other programs that we have, my role, myself being a business consultant and sitting down and providing that one-on-one with entrepreneurs, our goal or North Star to kind of keep that theme going is to really do our part to address systemic racism by playing and putting things in place that help business owners have sustainability, looking for ways that they can grow, having those conversations and really continue to understand what the issues are. We're not just showing up in community saying, hey, we're the bank, we know how this thing needs to go, let's do it. There are also conversations that I feel that are happening internally to look at policies that have been in place for years, hundreds of years, to say, how can we readjust to take down some of the obstacles that are in place when it comes to lending, when it comes to having conversation, when it comes to really, are we putting back in our community? I'm really happy with what Chase has done so far. We have a lot to go. By no means are we spiking the football and saying, hey, we got a bunch of Black people on Zoom. We're doing something with the Russell Center, spiking the football here. This is just the beginning part of the conversation. And I would just say for the people that are listening to this that still have critical questions or just experiences, let's keep those conversations going, because it's only when the community and the institutions are having these conversations, that we can continue to work to put things in place to have sustainable growth. And when that happens, especially for Black entrepreneurs, not only does that help families, not only does that help the local community, not only does that help the next generation, but that's helping out the country as a whole, because we're adding back to the GDP, we're adding back to jobs, we're adding back to building wealth. And those are the metrics when we're competing with other countries that really show up. So that's why it's indicative for us as Americans to really bend in and really make sure that entrepreneurs are getting everything they need, Black entrepreneurs are getting everything they need, so we can compete and step in that arena and win.
I'll tell you what, we've actually got a video for you to learn more about this amazing initiative. Watch this right quick. It's about advancing Black entrepreneurs.
Black communities have historically faced discriminatory lending practices that have impaired their trust of banks and their ability to grow wealth.
Through programs like Advancing Black Entrepreneurs, we're giving owners the tools and advice needed to prepare their businesses.
Our curriculum covers a variety of topics, including how to protect your cash flow, reduce expenses, maintain vendor relationships, and more. We've joined forces with the National Minority Supplier Development Council, the National Urban League, US Black Chambers, and Black Enterprise to launch this effort to help us connect with Black businesses nationwide.
This initiative is as intentional an effort that I've seen from any financial services company to address those long-standing Black American problems of income inequality and the pervasive, persistent racial wealth gap.
If you look at the Black community, our opportunity to grow our economy starts with small businesses. If you ask any business owner their number one concern, they will say access to capital. But if you ask a Black business owner, they will say their number 1, 2, as well as number 3 concern is access to capital.
For us to move forward with Black entrepreneurship, it's important that we have the necessary resources to make our businesses sustainable and successful over time.
These businesses need to marry themselves with larger entities so that they can have that foundation of growth and grow to size and scale. But that can only happen if we create sustainable models for growth so that these larger entities can then in turn beget more businesses.
There's that old African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. We know that we can only do that with community partnerships.
We are excited that Chase has stepped in the game. They've made a huge commitment to our communities, our businesses, as well as the organizations that are partnering with them. Most importantly, I say it's a win for Black businesses across the country.
No doubt. Thank you, Shea. Thank you, Chase. If you want to learn more about Advancing Black Entrepreneurs by Chase for Business, be sure to go to jpmorganchase.com/ABE. I want to thank all of you today for your time and your input, your insight. We'll leave you an opportunity for some closing remarks. We'll start with you, Janell.
First of all, thank you, Chase. Thank you, Shea, for the invite. I've started with Chase when I had $100 in the bank.
All right.
It was with Chase. So thank you for the invite, Jay. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and doing more work to help, raise awareness.
Shea?
Thank you for having us on and just being able to have this conversation. And I would just say that please continue to get in touch with whoever your local Chase representatives are, and we can continue that conversation. And I would end by just saying we really just appreciate Janell, her grind, her grit. We would need another 5 hours to really detail what awesome things that she does in her thought process. And she's fun to negotiate with, I will tell you that. It's fun to negotiate with, but thank you for having us.
Thank you. Jay?
I just want to tip my cap to Chase Bank for a time when they did not negotiate. They did not negotiate on the need to be very specific and intentional in advancing Black pathways, advancing Black entrepreneurs. It takes a certain level of corporate courage to say that there is an issue that we have ignored for centuries. And as a bank, one of the largest on the planet, we're going to take a stand and show leadership, but not only with dollars contributed, it's by creating positions for Shea to be in the community. It's for seeking out and producing more Janelles. It's supporting organizations like the Russell Center It is a courageous stance that I think the rest of corporate America should salute. But the community needs that level of courageousness from our corporate entities to make sure we're able to make a difference. So there are times where you should negotiate. And I think this is one of those times in history where we cannot negotiate on the need to provide resources to our community and to advance economics, advance learning, and advance access in the Black community. So this is the time. And thank you, Tigger, for always being part of our community, for always being a voice in our community. And this is a good thing. The more that we all come together, watch out. A lot of good will come out of this level of collaboration.
Well, indeed. Thank you for having me, and I am here for it. Thank you all once again. We're going to move on to our next topic, getting through tough money times with resiliency. Our featured speakers for this particular program will be none other than Dominique Wilkins. I don't really need to say anything other than Dominique Wilkins, right? And Mark Adams, Chase Regional Director. I'd like to welcome my guest today. One is a 9-time NBA All-Star that you absolutely know, who earned the name The Human Highlight Reel, Dominique Wilkins. What's up, Nick?
Hey, how you doing, Tig? Good to see you, man.
Always great to see you, sir. The second is Mark Adams, who serves as the Regional Director of the Chase Consumer Bank for Georgia and North Florida. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Big Tig. Glad to be here with two legends this afternoon.
Listen, you must be talking about Neek and Neek. But I appreciate the compliment, sir. The topic we're about to dive into is really important because we know talking about financial health is never, ever easy. We need to have these types of conversations, though, so we can prepare for when they happen. As we know, they happen for a lot of us over the last year. Today, we're going to address money management at a personal level as well as for your business. So those of you who have a business or want to get one going, you need to pay attention. Let's start with some personal experiences. What were some of your early memories and experiences with money? Either one of you take over first.
I know for me, growing up, I grew up in a very kind of a different type of situation. I had to become a young man at a very early age. I never really had a real childhood because I had become a man of family. So money was very important as far as saving because my mom raised 8 kids by herself. So I had to start thinking as a really young adult how I'm going to kind of build my future and what did I want to do for my future. So at 16, I decided to leave home and went to North Carolina. And that's how I kind of started my career. So I've always was the guy who was trying to save money and really think about the future is what I do now that would dictate where I ultimately become in the future. So it started for me very young.
Mark?
Yes, very similar story in that, I was the youngest of 5 kids, 5 boys actually, and I grew up with very hardworking parents. My mom worked in retail. My dad worked 2 jobs to help make ends meet. And, we didn't always have everything we wanted, but we always had everything that we needed. And so we were blessed in that respect. And so it really just taught me the value of hard work and making sure that we spend our money wisely, first focusing on, the things that we need and then focusing on things that we want.
There's always a lot to be said about humble beginnings. How did some of those experiences shape your habits today? Starting again with you, Mark.
For me, again, it just taught me the value of that dollar and making sure that, not only do I spend money wisely, but that I save. And so, one of the things one of the adages that I live by is that it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And so I want to make sure that, that I keep as much as I can. And so that's something that I took took into my, my later years. And, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. The reality is that, especially during my college years and you sign up during freshman orientation for credit cards and,
oh boy.
The next thing you know, you're in debt and you don't realize you got to pay all that money back. And so, but learned some hard lessons along the way. But I think overall, it really just taught me the value of making sure that, that I've got a real good discipline about how I spend money.
Right. For me, it was basically my mom. My mom was mother and the father, in the household. And so she was the disciplined arm in our household. So she always told me, to become a young man, you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Right.
And that's not just as far as, from a social spot, but a financial responsibility where you have to find out what you want to do in life, how you want to do it, but how do you take care of your family? And I've taken care of my family for over 40 years. And so I learned how to save enough to do what I need to do with my family, but also put something away for a rainy day. And so I always was looking for different opportunities to put money into, but that was safe opportunities that at the end of the day, I can see where every place my money was going. And so for me, my mom really pushed, being, independent and socially responsible, financially responsible. And she taught me a lot, and everything I've learned about, how I take care of myself, take care of my money is through her.
Amen. He said, it's not about how much money you make. Well, it is, but it's also about how much money you keep. If I had an album, it'd be "Get Rich and Don't Spend It." If there could be a word or phrase to describe your approach about money management today, what would that word or phrase be?
I'll let you go first there, Mark.
All right. I would say discipline. It's about having a plan and then sticking to that plan. And they're going to be, detours along the way. But if you've got a plan, you can always get back on track.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Patience and discipline will always get you in a place where you can be successful. And, people always want to try to do things the fast way. And it's quick. It's never, I'm going to take success and really building wealth never happens overnight. It takes patience, so you got to be willing to make sacrifices if you want to get to that next level. And, and people who have money, people who've done great things with money, those are the tangibles that they have.
Agreed. Given COVID-19 and its financial impacts, it has helped a bunch of people and it has absolutely hurt a bunch of people. Lots of people in a reset, rebuild, or recover mindset. Dominique, what phrase would you say you are in, and what are some of the things you've done to either reset, rebuild, or recover your finances?
Well, we've been doing a lot of resetting, that's for sure, because this pandemic, man, is no joke. I've lost a lot of friends, with this pandemic, and some just recently. Right. So, the thing is that you got to, we all hit with obstacles, and obstacles are not meant to stop you. It's just meant to make you slow down, step back, look at your life, and you find a way to get over it or around it. So you just got to find some healthy options to kind of supplement some of the losses and some of the struggles that you've gone through. And so I've been able to do that. And the thing I've been able to do is, and this is funny, I stay home now and build stuff. Normally I would hire somebody to do that. I do myself. I mean, I'm serious. And I just feel like, you find ways to keep peace around your home, or you find ways to be assertive as far as how you save. And so I just try not to overdo things. And again, just keep the patience and just wait till things finally turn back over. And it will turn back over. Unfortunately, it's just going to take some time.
Tell me something you built at home. I'm curious now.
Well, I built the pergola and outdoor living area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you got your whole DIY on. I see you.
Oh yeah, green. I mean, it's really, really nice. So I'm pretty good with my hands.
Okay, that's what's happening. I'll wait for the invite.
I'll catch you next week.
Okay, that's what's happening. Although COVID-19 is absolutely an unprecedented time, we know that anything at any time, as you just alluded to, could change all of our circumstances. Being prepared for the unknown can help shape our future. From a business perspective, what should business owners and entrepreneurs do to help them prepare for that rainy day? Is there anything that you did leading up to this that you are grateful now, like something you did unknowing that this was going to happen that had you like, okay, I'm good?
Is that me or Mark?
That's you.
That's for me. Okay. Yeah, Tig, I'm always looking to do something different. But one thing that I'm really big in that really helped me kind of reset some of the stuff that I was doing is healthcare. I've been really big in healthcare, dealing with diabetes. I've, teamed up with WellStar to really help people recognize that they have healthy options through diet, exercise, and medication. And also, I've done stuff with cancer and all these different areas to really help people deal with their issues. And I sat back sometimes, I said, you know what? I really don't have no problems. When I see how some of these people live with and that who are sick, who are trying to find a way to lose weight or deal with their chronic disease, man, it's very hard. So when I look at my life, I said, my life is easy. When I get a chance to be around people like this to help them find healthy options in their life, be it through healthcare or be it through financially, I think that's my mission and kind of my calling to help people discover that.
A lot of times people say your health is your wealth. From a personal finance perspective, though, Mark, what can individuals do to help them prepare for and get through these tough times like the current pandemic?
Yeah, no, I think, one of the things that one of my mentors would always tell me is that it's always best to repair your roof when the sun's out and when the sun is shining. And so I think, a couple things. One is making sure that you have emergency savings. And I know that people recommend, anywhere between 3 or 6 months of your income, actually having that as a quote unquote rainy day fund is something that's important. I actually read something recently that, talked about the fact that, only about 40% of Americans actually have $1,000 saved that they could use for an emergency if something were to happen today. And so I think, one of the things that, that all of us need to focus on is making sure that we've got that rainy day fund in case of emergencies. The second thing, and for those of us that maybe don't have access to that cash, being able to have access to other forms of capital. And so that could be using a credit card or a line of credit. And I know that there could be some people that say, hey, I don't want a credit card because I don't need it or I don't want to go into debt. But actually having a credit card, even if it's just for emergencies, is something that I would recommend to a lot of people. And then again, there may be other things like leveraging the equity in your home to get a home equity line or a personal line of credit. Even if you don't use it today, you know that you have it in case you need it. And so I think that's something that I would recommend for almost everyone.
Well, I personally ran up one of mine. I put it on auto, though, and it's actually helped to show a consistent, pay history. It's helped my credit score that, now that it's come down below a certain percentage. But again, if you have the discipline to get one and not to use it, except for in a rainy day, it's definitely a good look. Sounds like with all the bad news, there are still some opportunities here to reset, rethink, re-up about all things. Any tools or products Chase has that can help people out, make sure that they're taking the right steps to getting back to prominence?
Absolutely. I tell you, we've got some great tools on our JPMorgan Chase website. We've got something actually that we've rolled out recently called our Financial Health Hub, and it's on our website. You can access it there, and it gives you a great opportunity to get some good information around budgeting, saving, understanding how to improve and protect your credit score, and much more as it relates to financial health. And so I think that's a great resource that we can offer to anyone. You don't have to be a Chase customer to be able to access some of this great information. I'd also highlight a great banking product that we have called our Chase Secure Banking checking account. And so the secure product really helps people that haven't had access to traditional banking services be able to get access to a traditional banking account. And the good news is that this secure banking product has no overdraft fees, and it can help customers save money on fees on everyday transactions like paying bills or cashing checks or money orders. And so I think it's a great tool for those that haven't had access to traditional banking services. So I think we've got a clip that we want to watch that'll give us more details on that product.
There's a lot to manage in life right now. Chase Secure Banking is right there with you to help, with the convenience to manage your money from the Chase mobile app. Plus, it helps you spend only what you have. Because you want to get ahead of your expenses and want to get ahead in life. Chase Secure Banking, helping you get ahead. Open a Chase Secure Banking account today with no minimum deposit.
Well, I want to thank Mark and Dominique. Listen, definitely dropped a lot of gems, a lot of jewels for people to pick up on. Hopefully that will help them reset, reallocate, re-up, so to speak. Remember, if you want to learn more about any of these tools, products, or topics you heard today, please check out jpmorganchase.com/Rice, RICE. Before we leave, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dominique. Would you like to leave them with any last comments?
Absolutely, Tig. Thank you so much for hosting us today. I'm excited about the opportunity to continue this partnership and to talk about financial health. And I want to thank Dominique as well for participating and joining us in this conversation today.
Yeah, I also like to say thanks for having me on, Tigger. You guys, man, it's been great. It's always good to talk about these type of topics. When you talk about financial health, financial literacy, it's always good to give people healthy options that they can learn from, hopefully can use in the future. So thanks for having me.
Well, thanks to you, Mark Adams and Dominique Wilkins. Listen, we're going to head to our final topic, empowering the Atlanta community through Rice. My guest for this particular portion of the show would be David Lee from the Hawks Foundation, Mathilda Lambert, a Chase community manager, and Jay Bailey, CEO of the Russell Center. Welcome to you all.
Thanks, Tigger.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to ask each and every one of you to introduce yourselves individually and tell us all a little bit about yourselves. David, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to join everybody today. My title is Executive Vice President, External Affairs for Atlanta Hawks, State Farm Arena, and Centennial Yards. I also carry a / which is Executive Director for the Atlanta Hawks Foundation. Last count, that's 3 jobs, 1 paycheck, but I'm working on it. All right, doing what you got to do. But thank you for having me on today.
And my name is Mathilda Lambert. I'm the Atlanta-based community manager for Chase. And in this role here, I provide financial health education as well as access to resources to the underserved community here in Atlanta. And I've lived here for almost 30 years. And when I'm not working, I am traveling somewhere new.
And hey, family, Jay Bailey, President and CEO of the Russell Center. We are building the largest center in America dedicated to growing, scaling, developing Black businesses. Good to have you on here with you, Tigger, David, Mathilda. Look forward to a real good conversation.
Indeed.
In this last session, let's talk about how your different organizations are helping the Atlanta community thrive with financial support, resources, and tool. Jay, we'll start with you as the CEO of the Russell Center. Tell us how this center is going to empower the Atlanta community to thrive and strive for financial success.
You know, one of the things that makes us really special is the building that we're sitting in at 54,000 square feet. It makes it the largest center in America doing this work. But it was built by one of the most prolific entrepreneurs this city has ever produced in H.J. Russell. It's all about access to capital, access to community, access to networks, access to resources. We're looking to bring all the best resources in the world under one roof. And that's why the partnership with Chase is so important. For our companies to have access to the funding, the knowledge, the information necessary to thrive in a way where traditionally Black businesses have been shut out. This becomes the safe space to fail and fly where they're all brought in. It's about belonging, Tigger, and having a safe space for our companies to know that all things are possible. I'm wearing a shirt by one of our companies that says believe. Because our mission is every time a business walks through our door, for everything in the world that told them that things were not possible outside of those doors, as soon as they cross in, they know that everything is possible and they believe that their dreams, their ideas, their businesses can survive, can win, can thrive.
That sounds awesome. David, lots of us know all about what's happening on the court, but not off the court. Please tell us more about the Hawks Foundation and its mission to support the Atlanta community.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And it's great to be on this panel with incredible work being done by my colleagues. Listen, the Hawks Foundation is really focused on a very basic principle, which has been challenged in this past year, but we start from a basis of we want to build bridges through basketball, right? And most folks will understand that in ways that we are most visible and most physically felt. as a result of the 28 courts we've renovated around Metro Atlanta, or the various basketball programs that we have delivered across the community. Many of those are often at no cost to those young players, so that they have a chance to develop, so that young women can see themselves progressing towards the best version of themselves through basketball that they can. And then we put a lot of resources behind coaching development, because quite honestly, the coach's touch on the player is very key to their ability to grow and learn, right? And so we focused in those areas, but with always an eye on the community, and understanding what's going on is a critical component to what building bridges through basketball means. No more so than this year have we seen a challenge within the community, between the global pandemic, between hundreds of thousands of lives nationally being taken, and then thousands in Metro Atlanta and Georgia, and an economic shutdown of a scale of which we've not seen since the Second World War. Widespread racial, social injustice, and economic inequality, and the reckoning associated with that. And then critically important, in an election year, when access to a safe and efficient way to vote became a priority within our organization, all of that fell within our domain of trying to solve those issues. And so food insecurity, and working on voting, and attempting to work in ways to empower the community differently, so that these issues do not affect us long-term. Let's get after these systemic problems. That's the work that our organization has taken on through the Hawks Foundation. We couldn't be more proud, but quite honestly, I'm also excited and elated that we're not alone. And that's why, our partnership with Chase, our partnership with Russell Center is so key to addressing broadly, right? And through plans and programs that are more than one organization or one entity's response. And so there's a strategy to accelerate these things as a result of those partnerships. And that's what we focus on. Because it's so much easier, right, to solve and work within community with the community, and doing that with partners who believe deeply in that work. And so that's what the foundation has been doing for years, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Well, personally, as a Fulton County resident, I want to thank the Hawks for opening the building up to voting, because them lines was not playing, and that was one of the easiest, nicest ways to vote ever.
Thank you.
I appreciated it.
Hats off to our organization and all the effort from frontline employees to full-time to executives, and our coach, who was there on day one to greet our people. So thank you for voting.
No doubt. Chase is being intentional about investing in this Atlanta community. Mathilda, what are some of the financial resources that Chase is providing to Atlanta entrepreneurs?
Thank you so much for that question, Tigger. Chase has recently committed $2.5 million to the Ascend 2020 program, and that is specifically to support minority-owned small businesses. And within that, Chase also announced a number of grants dedicated to the Atlanta community, totaling over $640,000. And specifically from that dollar amount, $290,000 will be in the form of a grant going to the Ascend Atlanta program at Morehouse College's Entrepreneurship Center. And that goes to help entrepreneurs navigate the COVID environment, because we all know that that's been really, really tough. And then $250,000 is actually going to go to the Russell Center's Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs program, which is going to allow them the capital to respond to the immediate needs of our community. And then lastly, $100,000 is going to go towards the Atlanta Wealth Building Initiative, which is going to open the doors for Atlanta business owners to take advantage of contracting opportunities. So those are just one of the many ways that we are providing, opportunities for Atlanta entrepreneurs.
This sounds like a win-win collaboration happening right now. How's Chase going to partner with the Russell Center to provide these resources for people in Atlanta? Because it sounds like I feel like I need to start a new business now.
You should. I mean,
That's right.
You definitely should. And the Russell Center is the place for you to, come and join us. But our goal with this partnership is really just to create a center of economic empowerment where you leave feeling inspired and encouraged than when you arrived. So Tigger, if you want to start a business, come and see us at the Russell Center. But we recently actually just hired 2 business consultants that will serve as mentors and coaches to the Black and Latinx community specifically. And they're actually going to spend some time operating out of the new Chase Lounge to provide guidance and access to resources. And in addition to that, what you can also expect in the future are curated events hosted by myself as the community manager, as well as our business consultants, both virtually and in person. So, of course, in person later on in the year, hopefully, fingers crossed, with topics centered around credit, access to capital, steps towards home ownership, and so much more. So I'll pass it on over to Jay to answer the rest of the question.
And I think that, Tigger, it's commendable what Chase and the Hawks are doing in a real way. To see that Chase has dedicated employees to be a part of the community, for the Hawks to make investments in the community that are lasting. Black businesses, they experience real challenges and they need real-time solutions. And to have a Mathilda available to them when they need help, and the business bankers that they've made available when they need help. Again, Atlanta, for everything that I love about my city, we have some real issues. We are the worst city in the country when it comes to income inequality. We lead the country when we talk about income immobility. A child born into poverty in Atlanta has less than a 4% chance of reaching the middle class. Wow. All of the data supports that the fastest way that you can close the wealth gap, create jobs, create revenue, increase household wealth, and create hope in a community is through the businesses that you support. And so with the Russell Center at this 54,000 square feet, literally we are that beacon on a hill that's been here for over 74 years, telling the community that things are possible. So to have a Mathilda, to have a David right down the street, I think Atlanta is poised to do something that Silicon Valley, Cambridge, the Research Triangle, Austin or Nashville could not. Make innovation work for all people and make it inclusive. Something special is happening in this city right now. And if we all come together and collaborate, we have the opportunity to create something that history will never forget, and create the type of businesses that are rooted in community in a way that we've never seen before. And with strong partners like the Atlanta Hawks and Chase Bank, we're well on our way.
Hey, man, it sounds like an amazing collaboration. David, speaking of collaborations, one of the things that lots of people took note of, an ongoing thing now, is Hawks HBCU Night, where we recognize historically Black colleges and universities, as well as the National Panhellenic Council, aka the Divine Nine. Why is investing in the younger generation of Atlanta so important for the Hawks?
Great question, and y'all gonna have to forgive me, but let's recognize part of what role we all play as a result of our experiences, not only in Atlanta, but many folks who have graduated from our HBCUs, and nowhere has been more on display and more prominent than obviously what has occurred within the last several months. And Kamala stepping into the VP's role as a result of having attended Howard University is fantastic. It is absolutely vital that we continue to be and we display ourselves as a community asset. There's no running from that responsibility. It is something we embrace, we enjoy it. It is part of our DNA. But we also recognize we got a powerful platform as a result to do something about that, right? And recognize and facilitate something positive in sense of change in the world. And so an HBC Unite for us is not, that is not an activation or promotion in and of itself just to do something on one night. It is an important and embedded principle inside of our organization. We recognize how important our fan base is in general, right? We recognize the value of our youth in terms of developing them and ensuring that future generations have habits and beliefs that they believe that they can affect their children's children, right? So there's a deeper understanding and purpose to all of this. Whether it's been, as we discussed earlier, voting, or it's been stepping into issues on food insecurity or partnering with Russell Center, it is important that we are setting an example of not just entertaining, right? But focus on a way that shows that we are trying to positively move and improve our neighbors' experience, and that they do not stay in a position as a result of the zip code they're born in. So how we recognize and empower the Divine Nine and the influence of our sororities and fraternities is super important. It's deeply embedded inside of our culture. It's celebrated in our community broadly. And quite honestly, given the basis of what constitutes our player, our performers, the people who drive this industry, 80% strong, I think it's an appropriate response that we embrace the very community that has helped build this business. And so whether it's been on a basis of recognizing that African-American heritage or creating awareness around historically Black colleges and universities and the strength of the alumni who come out of them and the impact they make on the world, that is a globally important, relevant opportunity for us to make certain we take our leadership on that. And it's only fitting that we celebrate that heritage, that culture, and that positive, phenomenal legacy that we contribute. And so, quite frankly, it's both privilege and honor and responsibility for us to continue to do that type of work, and we will.
Agreed. Now, I'd just like to give you the Hawks their props because they were doing it before it was in style to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's kind of interesting where it's a little bit more comfortable, where folks want to talk about these things now, where most of us have. Yeah, you're right.
It would happen on this very day that I received some Hawks swag. And, David, while you're talking about, Tigger, an NBA team to step up when they're voting issues. To have discussions about vaccine distribution, but then to honor one of our greatest heroes in our city, in the colors of his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha.
That's right.
Shows the heart of the kind of team that we have here. They're not just here to play basketball.
Yeah, no, Dave, thank you. It is not, you're right. It is, so it's very easy for people to see timing of things coming out and believe that it's a reaction to something as opposed to recognition that this is strategy. Yes. That jersey effort with Nike began over 2.5 years ago. That conversation with Dr. King, with the leaders inside the King Center to make certain we embedded properly and recognized the involvement in a way that brought, it advanced the ideals and told the story to a fresh and new audience in a way that perhaps those younger people haven't heard it. But none of that is by mistake. It is not a knee-jerk reaction. It is intentional. It is focused. And Tigger, I appreciate your point on this because quite honestly, it's hard being first, right? You tend to take a little bit of, well, what are y'all doing when we announce things? But it seems like as a result of we've gotten used to it for so long that it's no longer, there are some times when I question, why are we the first when we announce that we do a refinance deal of not insubstantial money with a Black bank consortium and we're the first North American sports team to do that? How does that happen in 2020, right? Like, why is that our conversation? But as long as those things are out there, I guess that what I'll conclude it with is there will be no barriers that we will allow inside of our organization to prevent us from doing the right thing.
Individually, what do you hope these initiatives, resources, and commitments will be able to accomplish in the Atlanta community? Mathilda, we'll start with you.
I just hope that it brings people together and it shows that anything's possible. I remember the first time that I actually went into the Russell Center and I had a conversation with Jay Bailey. I left there surely much more inspired than when I arrived. So just us having the Chase Lounge there and the partnership with the Russell Center and also the partnership with the Hawks and that synergy, I just really, my hope is that it just brings inspiration to the community.
Okay. David?
I think we covered it and Mathilda wrapped it up beautifully. Here's the thing. These are not finish line goals. I liken it to what obviously we would all love to see us raise a championship trophy. But I must say that there is no restriction or governor on our ability to accomplish championship level performance on behalf of the community every single year. And much the same way that our coach and GM and our ownership and Steve view, if we win when we win a trophy, we're immediately back to work the very next day. There's no resting on laurels. This organization feels very much bent on attempting to find ways to continue to improve.
Amen. Come on, Pastor Lee. Finally, Jay.
I think what David said about talent is real. We lose GDP every year because the brilliance that occurs on the south side of the tracks never reaches the marketplace. None of you guys can tell me or show me somebody more innovative on the planet than a single mother with 2 kids making $17,000 a year. The way that she thinks, the way that she problem solves, the way that she sees the world and is still able to smile with less Literally the heart of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, guys, you can't tell me all the brilliance is in Buckhead in Atlanta. And I think the only difference between Buckhead and Bankhead is access, opportunity, and exposure. And that's it. And where we want to live with the Russell Center is literally at the nexus of access, opportunity, and exposure, bringing the best resources in the world and giving our community access to them. I think there are tremendous things. And when you talk about exposure, David, you know, what if we put the same amount of effort into finding the next A.J. Russell as we did the next Trey Young? And we took that talent and nurtured it and cultivated it and trained it. The kind of economic energy that will come out of our communities, we've already seen it. Billion-dollar valuations by companies that are absolutely undergirded by our content. It's just time for us now to just funnel and channel and weaponize all of the brilliance and the beauty that we see every day walking on our streets that doesn't believe that their ideas matter. This center is really about our community knowing without a shadow of a doubt that their ideas matter, and this is indeed a safe space for them to fail and fly, for them to say, I've got a dream, and also to believe that dream is possible. And it's amazing that we have this congregation. Atlanta is it. And to have Chase Bank stepping up the way that they have, the Hawks stepping up the way that they have, and even you, Tigger, always being available to the community to lend your voice and your influence to see change happen, the best is yet to come.
Well, I'd like to thank Mathilda, David, and Jay for this last portion of the conversation and all our guests from today's live stream. The top 3 things you should take from today's webcast, Atlanta, is 1, Chase and the Russell Center are partnering to bring resources to help address some of the persistent challenges facing the Black community. 2, entrepreneurship is the lifeblood of our economy and the most common path to fulfilling the American dream. And 3, the center will allow us to go beyond entrepreneurship and drive engagement and make a difference in the Atlanta community. To learn more about this partnership and other resources we discussed today, go to jpmorganchase.com/rice. That's RICE. Once again, my name is Big Tigger. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you at the Russell Center.